So the war in Palestine continues, and many parties are now getting involved in this. You know, obviously Iran was already involved. Well, Iran was already involved, but now their little henchmen, their little playthings, the Houthis, are now getting involved from Yemen, and they're now blocking up ships in the Red Sea, making it hard for commerce to get through. They're trying everything in their power to start World War III, and it's like I really am getting annoyed with this little group in the geopolitical high school class. I'm tired of these. Let's see what they've been up to.
We return now to the conflict in the Middle East and rising tensions in the Red Sea, where about 12% of the world's global trade passes through, and where Houthi militias in Yemen have been attacking ships. The Houthis say their attacks are in support of the Palestinians. Yesterday, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin announced a new multinational effort to protect ships in the region. But how will that work? For that, we turn to former commander of U.S. forces in the Middle East, retired General Frank McKenzie. He's now the executive director of the Global and National Security Institute at the University of South Florida. Thanks for being with us, sir. And help our audience understand first, who are the Houthis and why exactly are they attacking commercial ships?
The Houthis are a proxy of Iran, and they seized governmental control in a coup in Yemen several years ago. They've been largely responsible for the mass starvation in the country. And with Iran, they pursue a policy for the destruction of Israel. They're not completely under the direct control of Iran, but Iran provides their equipment, provides their resourcing, and all their supplies. But they're not directly at the beck and call of Iran in this matter. The Houthis have wanted to attack Israel. It's very hard for them to range Israel proper. So they've settled on instead trying to cut off communication of maritime shipping in the Bab el-Mandeb area, down at the southern end of the Red Sea.
And as we mentioned, the U.S. announced this creation of this multinational task force to protect commercial traffic through the Red Sea. How exactly will that work? And in your estimation, will it be enough to deter future attacks?
The ships will be important. We will provide ships. Our friends and partners will provide ships. And those warships that will be out there shepherding the merchant vessels through will be very important. But what will be equally important will be the intelligence architecture that we put over the Bab el-Mandeb. You need to see what's going on. You do that through manned patrol aircraft, unmanned aircraft, drones, all kinds of other intelligence gathering systems to actually see what the Houthis are up to. And this also has another effect. We know from many years of dealing with Iran, they don't like to be observed. It can have a deterring effect. In 2019, our heavy use of ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets around the Strait of Hormuz prevented the Iranians from carrying out nefarious attacks. May or may not be enough with the Houthis. They tend to be very aggressive. I think at some point we're probably going to have to consider striking some of these Houthi launch sites, command and control posts, radar outposts, those things that make their attacks possible. The Houthis will respect that. They will understand. And frankly, I think the odds of an escalatory spiral coming from a self-defense strike down in Yemen, those odds are very small.
BP is now the latest company to announce it's going to be pausing shipments through the Red Sea, as we mentioned, with so much...
Oh yeah, they playing games. Y'all playing with BP's money? Y'all are playing with BP's money. The Houthis in Iran are playing with BP's money, and that's just not the only company they're playing with. Multiple companies from multiple countries are getting their ships hijacked and fucked over by the Houthis, and it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, look, the war in Palestine, the current stage that it's in right now was started by the Palestinians. It was caused by Hamas. Israel is allowed to respond and defend themselves. War is not a sport. It's not a sport. This whole thing of, okay, you've killed X amount of people in Gaza now, ceasefire. Ceasefire? For what? So that this can happen again? There needs to be a strong de-radicalization of Gaza and Israel, because both these, if the world were to leave these two powers to just deal with each other, they would 100% try to genocide the other off the map completely. The reality is that the Houthis and Iran are living in a fantasy. Every other Arab nation is perfectly willing to live in peace and tranquility with Israel, besides Iran. Besides Iran. Now why? Why is Iran the lone dissenter? Why is Iran the lone stirrer of fuckery? Why are they the ones poisoning the fucking well? Well, Iran is a hyper-Islamic, radical Islamic nation. They had an Islamic revolution. I want to give y'all an example of what I mean when I talk about this Iranian Islamic revolution. Iran forbids women from traveling without the consent of her husband. According to Article 18 of the passport law passed in 1973, a husband can ban his wife from leaving the country. A woman is required by Iranian law to have the permission of her husband before she can leave the country or obtain a passport. Iran's civil law system can be seen as very gender distinct, with numerous laws that favor men over women and few, if any, laws favoring women at all. Iran follows Islamic laws. Under Iranian civil laws, when children reach puberty, they also gain penal responsibility and can be legally tried as an adult. Do you see how bro, this is lunatic thinking. This is retarded. This is dumb. This is dumb, but this is what happens when you go so far down the rabbit hole of radical Islam. This can be seen as disadvantageous toward girls, who reach puberty around the age of 10, whereas boys reach it around the age of 14. This means girls as young as 10 can be prosecuted criminally. Punishments can vary from prison sentences to lashes and the death penalty. Imagine sentencing an 11-year-old girl to prison over something that doesn't involve harming anyone, scamming anyone, destroying anything, simply because she broke the code of religious law. I swear to God, a lot of Americans that support this, the Palestinian side in this war that's being egged on by Iran, y'all don't understand the insanity that's going behind this, the machinations going behind this. Y'all don't understand the insanity that's pushing Palestine. Y'all don't understand the forces that are pushing the Palestinians toward war. On November 13, 2018, Entekab, Iran's official news agency, published a statement by the hiking board of the northeastern province of Khorasan Razavi that requires Iranian women to have permission from their husbands or fathers if they want to go hiking. Do I have to explain why this is fucking crazy? Do I have to? Do I have to explain why Iran not allowing the women of their country to go hiking without their husbands or fathers' permission? Do I have to explain why that's fucking crazy? I hope not. Iran forbids women from traveling without the consent of their husbands. We already covered that, right? So clearly women have almost no fucking autonomy. So remember the protests that were going on last year in Iran? They've been having a really big issue with people protesting over there. It all started with the death on 16th of September. Y'all remember the issues going on in Iran before? Let's dive into that, because they had protests going on. Let's dive into that. It all started with the death on 16th of September 2022 of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman. She had been arrested by morality police in Tehran 3 days earlier for allegedly violating Iran's strict rules requiring women to cover their hair with a hijab or a headscarf. Iran's state coroner attributed her death to pre-existing medical conditions, but a UN human rights expert said the evidence established that she died as a result of beatings by morality police. The first protest took place after Amini's funeral in the western city of Saqqez, when women ripped off their headscarves in solidarity. The unrest rapidly spread across the country, with demands ranging from more freedoms to an overthrow of the state. I want y'all to understand, the reason why I'm pointing out all these issues in Iran's mentality and their psychology and the way that they act is because it directly influences why they're so supportive of Hamas. The reality is this. The Arab nations surrounding Israel have had many opportunities to destroy them and get rid of them. And in fact, when the Israelis first showed up, it wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have had a problem with if the Arabs said, yo, get out and we'll force you out. And had the Arabs succeeded, like 100 years ago, you know what? I would say, good on you. It is what it is. They're not from here. You got rid of them, whatever. We're 100 years in the future. It's too late. Israel is solidified as a nation. They're a nuclear power. The Arab neighbors surrounding Israel are building a cordial and peaceful relationship with them. This idea of, let's just keep sending rockets into Israel and keep fighting Israel and keep fighting. No, that's not an option anymore. At some point, Palestinians are going to have to realize that they have continuously dug themselves into this deeper and deeper and deeper hole. You might be able to get the average person on social media to sit there and sympathize with you. But anyone who has actually looked at the history of this and looked at the geopolitical consequences of constantly dragging out this conflict that you had multiple opportunities to win in the past, anyone who's looking at this from a rational perspective can clearly see, bro, it's done. It's over. It's done. You've had multiple opportunities to win. It's over. Sending rockets over. What happened on October 7th? It's like at some point, you have to rationally and logically assess this entire war. Like, what is actually going on here? Like, is it realistic for Palestinians to just keep waging these attacks and shooting rockets over? It's just not realistic. It's just not. It's not. It's just not. Before Gaza and the West Bank were even an official thing, the Arabs in the area had multiple opportunities to get rid of Israel. They tried and tried and tried. We cannot keep risking the stability of the world over this conflict. Which brings us to the Iranian-backed Houthis from Yemen. They're continuously attacking these ships, trying to make it difficult for commerce in the Red Sea, trying to, in any way, shape, or form, impact Israel in this conflict. I'm going to just say this right now. The Houthis, they're not going to have a long run. They're not. They're going to get done away with. Not only are we going to clear them out of the Red Sea, I think Joe Biden should strike them. I think Joe Biden should blow them the fuck up. You want to send drones and missiles? Your ass will find out. You'll find out. Don't worry about it. Joe Biden has handled foreign policy amazingly well so far, but this is the time to really put our foot on these fuck niggas' necks because Iran is playing serious games, bro. This is a small conflict that does not need to spiral to World War III levels, bro. It does not. This Arab Jew, Muslim Jew bullshit is not that serious to where the entire world should suffer because y'all don't know how to act right. At all. And Iran is so deeply steeped in their Islamic lunacy that women can't even hike without their dad's permission. They can't even travel without their dad's permission. And don't send me this bullshit of, oh, you gotta respect Islam. It's a religion of peace or it's a religion of people of color. I don't give a fuck. I don't care, bro. These niggas are willing to risk the stability of Earth, planet Earth, the rock that all of us are walking on every day. This thing that we're all living on, they're willing to risk this in the name of Islam. Something you can't even physically prove, like any other religion. Imagine if tomorrow we were going to risk the stability of the entire world in the name of Christ. Bro, chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, chill, bro. But Iran doesn't want to chill. They're backing these Houthis, funding them, sending them weaponry, just like they're funding and sending weapons to Hamas to disturb the security of the world all over this conflict. Notice how all the other Muslim nations in the region have accepted it and tried to work with Israel toward a better and brighter tomorrow, but the Palestinians just won't give in. The Gazans just won't stop spawning bullshit. It's like, bro, you've had multiple opportunities to spell the Israelis. It's done now. Too much time has passed. We have to look at a reasonable, rational, logical solution. And to sit there and say, well, the Palestinians deserve to have all this land back. It's like, this land was lost in warfare. It was lost in war. And how far are we going to extend this logic? Who gets to take what land back? I'm not Native American. I got Native American DNA, but I'm not Native American. Should Native Americans walk into my crib and shoot me down and take my house? It was their land at one point. How far are we going to extend this? How many of y'all people that are supporting this ridiculous, sparking of the conflict on October 7th, how many of y'all supporting Palestine would actually give up your homes to the people that America took the land from? How far are we going to go with this? Are we going to have eternal conflict everywhere? Because at one point this group had it and that group had it. How far does this go? If you really want peace, there has to be a ceasing of conflict. But we can't have a ceasing of conflict when these fucking Houthis are trying to take over ships and just do dumb shit. This is not sustainable anyways. They're not going to get away with this. They're too weak. They can record their little videos. They can play their little games, but they can't sustain this. They can't. And they never will be able to sustain it. Iran can't sustain it. What Joe Biden needs to do is actually, in my opinion, completely destroy the means by which the Houthis are striking these ships and sending drones. We don't need to invade Yemen. There's no point in risking a massive global conflict. But disarming them is the first step. Sending them a strong and stern message that if you want to get involved in big boy geopolitics, you will receive big boy ammunition. We will blow you the fuck up. Facts. That's the message that Joe Biden needs to send these niggas. I'm sick and tired of seeing global security being put on the line because of radical Islam. Grow the fuck up. How is it that the Arab Muslim countries that have actually been to war with Israel, they're able to make peace with Israel. They're able to move toward a better and brighter tomorrow. But here comes Iran, the one country that hasn't lost anything in this entire conflict, egging it on because they're so far up their own ass and so obsessed with this Jewish-Muslim conflict that they're willing to crash the entire world economy out over a conflict that doesn't even involve them. It's ridiculous. It is foolishness of the utmost or the highest order. And we all got to put up with it. So fuck these Houthi ass niggas. I'm tired of these niggas, bro. Let's look at what the fuck they're doing. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels are stepping up their strikes on ships in the Red Sea, which they say are revenge against Israel for its military campaign in Gaza. Mind you, y'all see this? Y'all see this? Here's Israel. Over here. Right over here. Y'all see this? Here's Israel. Right there. Voice crack, my bad. Right there. Israel's right there. Now, where's Yemen? All the way down fucking here. Now, where's Iran? All the way over the fuck here. Neither of these nations have ever been directly involved, as far as I can remember, in any conflict with Israel. Now, neither of these two countries have ever been directly involved in conflict with Israel, and yet the world has to risk our economy and stability and possible World War III because they're obsessed with stomping out the Jews. I'm serious. What other reason could they pop? Like, bro, what's going on in Gaza is not a genocide. Point blank, period. What's going on in Gaza is not a genocide. Just because you're losing the war does not mean you're being genocided. Point blank, period. That is not the definition of genocide. They're not being genocided in Gaza. They're losing a war. They're losing a war after sparking the conflict to a level it had never even reached in quite some time. In fact, possibly even a level it's never even reached before in terms of Israel-Gaza. So it's funny to me that people will sit there and egg this on. It's a genocide. It's apartheid. Bro, you just think you could just shoot missiles and invade a country, and then when they kill more people than you killed, all of a sudden, oh, it's done now? It's not a game. Geopolitics is not a sport. It's not a game. Israel reserves the right to defend itself. The only solution to this conflict is for Israel not to flatten Gaza, not to blow up every building, but to go house to house, door to door, room to room, root out every Hamas insurgent on some Fallujah shit. Israel's gonna have to bite some bullets here. You wanna live on some land that you ain't been in 2,000 years? It's gonna come with a few consequences. They're gonna have to go in house to house, room to room, root out these fucking Hamas fighters, and then there's gonna have to be a strong de-radicalization effort from both Western powers and surrounding Arab nations. And I don't even know if we can trust them. It might have to be a Western-led effort to de-radicalize Gaza. There might be no other way. Genuinely, there might be no other way. So I think it's really, really funny that the Houthis and Iran are willing to risk the global economy all in the name of Israel. I want y'all to understand something. Iran and Yemen are doing this all for religious reasons. It's all about religious tribalism for them. There is nothing geopolitical about this. There is nothing economic about this. There is nothing strategic about what Iran and Yemen are doing. It is complete religious fervor. Completely. It's even more, it's really the hatred of Jews. Because if I recall correctly, the Chinese is over there doing the Muslims dirty. The Muslims in China, they down bad for real. I haven't heard anything from Iran doing anything to them. I haven't heard about the Houthis doing anything to... I haven't heard about any of them doing anything to the Chinese. At all. At all. I swear to God, the humanity of the West is part of the reason why they play these fucking games with us. Because you know exactly what the fuck would happen if they tried China. But the Chinese don't got no qualms. They don't have any fucking... I'm not gonna say they don't have any morals, but you play with them, you'll find the fuck out. Real talk. These motherfuckers are trying to take advantage of the humanity and the morals of Western civilization, and they're playing games. About to risk the whole world economy because you mad about the fact that Israel is defending itself in the conflict and whooping Hamas's ass. Y'all are mad about civilian deaths? Tell Hamas to build actual military installations. There's enough land. There's more than enough land, but they won't. They won't do it. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Hamas wants to build tunnels and build weapons caches under hospitals. Whose fault is that? If you want to hide among civilians, it doesn't all of a sudden mean that you're disqualified from getting fucked up in war. So, I'm not with this pro-Palestine shit. I don't support the idea of flattening Gaza. I don't support the idea of forcing Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip. I don't believe in annexing the Gaza Strip. But this idea that Palestinians can be locked in this eternal conflict with Israel forever because X amount of years ago the borders were different. Bro, you've had multiple opportunities to destroy the Israelis. You've been fighting them for 100 years, but the borders are set and what's done is done. You don't get to just have the green light to eternally possibly drag the world into a global conflict because you're mad about some shit that's done. Yeah, the land belonged to the land belonged to you when in reality it was a territory owned by the Ottoman Empire, then the British. And anyways, yeah, the land once belonged to you, but now the Israelis live there and they have their own country, and we're all supposed to risk nuclear war because y'all have had multiple opportunities to get rid of them, multiple wars to get rid of them, and constantly failed. How many more countries are we going to open up to decolonization? America's a colonial state. Australia's a colonial state. Canada's a colonial state. How much global chaos do y'all want? How many of y'all are willing to give up your home because you live in a colonial state? I thought so. So I'm not anti-Palestine. I'm not anti-Muslim, but I'm anti-radical Islam, and I'm anti, bullshit egging on from Iran. So fuck Iran, fuck the Houthis, and they can suck America's dick, because the reality of the situation is that this conflict is about to possibly start a World War III level scenario, and these niggas is playing games all in the name of religious fervor, and I'm tired of this shit. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Fuck these niggas. I'm out.